sunshine is the nectar of life. A twisted soul where horror doesn't end.
Hello, horror fiends, and welcome to Guess What? You're Wrong, the podcast where we dive into all things horror and spoil the hell out of every movie we discuss. With me, Big D, as your host, be prepared for a terrifyingly good time. From classic slasher flicks to contemporary horror masterpieces, we're going to explore the genre from every angle that we can and leave no stone unturned. Horror, Prince, and Shine. New conversations, same podcast. So buckle up, bonehead, because you're going for a ride.
Enjoy the show.
Beneath the moonlight, he wanders alone. A solitary figure, a haunting tone. His laughter echoes.
Now, before we get into this episode too far, I just got a little disclaimer here. First off, all audio used in this podcast is used under the protection of fair use. And as with all the movie reviews that I do here on Guess What? You're Wrong, we're going to spoil the hell out of every single thing we talk about. So, you have been warned. Hello and welcome back to another... God damn, I've been waiting for this episode for an awfully fucking long time. Episode of Guess What? You're Wrong. Damn. That was a lot to get out, but okay, so we're back. You probably recognize this face over here next to me. It's been quite a while since she's been around. She's been around like a donut. But Christine, welcome back to the show. It's been a long time. I missed you.
I missed you too.
So how the hell you been?
I'm okay. I'm doing good.
That hair looks like it needs a cutting, though. I'm telling you.
No way. Never cut my hair.
Now, Christine's having a little bit of some technical issues. Her internet's coming and going. So we're gonna power through this as best as we can. We're gonna get this episode done because this episode has been waiting since Halloween, October. This is one of those episodes that we've been trying to get done. Holy sheep shit, since October.
I know.
And it's just been coming and going. I'm not available. Christine's not available. Something happened there. Who knows? Some shit happens. I got hemorrhoids. I don't know what the shit's going on. But finally, we're both on the vidjas here together. So we're gonna rewind. We're gonna pretend like it's October for a little bit. And we're covering a vampire movie from 1984. Christine, what's this movie called? Do you remember?
No.
Interview with a Vampire.
It wasn't from 1984.
No, I'm sorry, 1994. 94.
Okay. I was like, what?
1994. I was thinking back to the heyday of horror movies. 1994. Yeah. Now we're not talking about that trash TV show that they just released. We're talking about the movie, the good one.
That's horrible. I watched all of it.
Did you watch season 2?
I wish I could get time.
Now, Interview with the Vampire from 1994 was directed by Neil Jordan, written by none other than Anne Rice herself. Anne Rice. That's right.
That's right.
This movie does star Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise, and Antonio Banderas from Desperado fame. And a very, 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 very young Kirsten Dunst.
Yes.
Who we will eventually when she gets older, much older, we'll get to know her from the hard nipples in a see-through dress film in Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire. Remember that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Who doesn't? Who doesn't? How the heck have you been, Christine? Jeepers creepers.
I'm doing okay.
Jeez, it's been a long time.
I had to move out of Peters. We both moved. So I've been Dade City.
Dade City. I remember Dade City. They got a good Mexican store there. I remember that Mexican store.
What?
They got a good Mexican store.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have a few good ones around here.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, the days. I remember being over there quite the bit. So I originally, when we were supposed to cover this movie, I watched it. To be honest with you, I haven't watched it since then. And so Christine knows this movie very, very well. So my recollection of this movie is going to be in bits and pieces.
Okay.
But I know Christine remembers it probably a lot more than I. I remember the storyline. Okay, I remember how I remember A, B, C, how it goes. But there's some of the stuff, some of the integral stuff here and there, the bits and pieces. I just don't remember some of the smaller things.
Yeah.
I remember at the beginning, because of course at the beginning it's the interview with the vampire. I mean, it's the interview. So we had the interviewer who actually in this movie it turns out it's Christian Slater.
Yeah.
But didn't originally that was slated to be he killed
I know. I was just thinking about that too.
He died. River Phoenix. That's right. Originally, it was supposed to be River Phoenix, and he died. Killed himself because of drugs. Dumbass. Christian Slater took over this role as the interviewer, interviewing Louis, right? Interviewing Louis.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because it starts off with Louis telling his story as a human, right? Is that right? That's how it starts. Yeah, because he was
1795 day it had, or was the time. I think that's what it was. That's what he said.
What the hell? What did you say to me?
I said 1795. The day it happened.
See, I don't remember that shit. I remember they were on boats and shit like that, like New Orleans and stuff. But
yeah,
I remember years and stuff. Damn.
I was just talking about when he was with the interviewer.
Yeah. Yeah, he starts telling that.
Begin like David Copperfield.
Yeah. The book, not the magician. The book. Now, what was the beginning? What was Louis' life? I don't remember. So this is one of the things that I blank out on a little bit here. What was his life like before he met Lestat? I can't remember.
Had in the movie, he had just lost his wife and child during childbirth. So he started not giving a crap about anything.
Yeah, that's what it says here. He drunkenly wanders the waterfront of New Orleans, and one night is attacked by the vampire Lestat de Lioncourt. Lestat senses Louis' dissatisfaction with life and offers to turn him into a vampire. And Louis accepts.
What
was that? You're kind of breaking up a little bit there. You're breaking up a little bit there. I'm gonna. What's that? You remember lines?
Yeah,
What lines?
from the movie.
You know, I remember from this scene here.
When,
From this scene here, I remember when doesn't Lestat like take Louis and they like go way up into the clouds, and he's like
Yes.
feeding on him. I remember that scene there. That's visually.
yeah,
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
and the music too.
Yeah.
The music behind it like made it.
Yeah. I seem to remember. Boy, I remember back then. I liked this song. I think it was by Concrete Blonde. I can't remember the name of the song though, but it sings about vampires in New Orleans.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of the song
You
though.
Were a Vampire. I think it's called by Concrete Blonde. You Were a Vampire.
Something like
or
that.
Vampire.
Yeah. Now I wanted so bad for that song to be in this movie because it tells the story. I mean, you were a vampire in New Orleans, that kind of stuff. But it wasn't in there, to my dismay. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I think the visuals in this, from what I remember, were pretty darn good.
Yeah.
For the time, you know, I don't remember. Was the use of CGI heavy in this? I don't think it was.
I don't know.
I don't think it was.
Might be something.
So when I watched it the last time, I don't remember seeing a whole bunch of CGI. I'll have to look that up here in a bit. But, you know, as we're going through the movie, at this point here, Louis agrees, like, to become a vampire, but he regrets it almost immediately, doesn't he? I mean, you know, Lestat takes him to the river, you know, in New Orleans, where he starts to change, you know, where he dies, you know, before he's reborn as a vampire. And he starts regretting it almost immediately. Especially knowing that they have to feed on humans. I think that, doesn't he almost immediately refuses to like feed, on humans, doesn't he?
I think at first that was later. He saw that he.
Yeah, and then
Yeah, first. And he started feeding on rats.
Yeah, he starts feeding on animals and rats and that kind of stuff. I know, and Lestat's making fun of him. He's like, that's no way to live, blah, blah, blah. And, well, Louis finds out because Lestat tells him, yeah, you can, because I've had to do it before in the past. Oh, and she bounced out. Maybe she'll be back here momentarily. But I know that, you know, Lestat tells Louis that he had, before in the past, he'd had to live off animals, and it's no way to live. Lestat's kind of a prick like that, you know. But, you know, then the plague eventually breaks out, and, she's popping back in here. There she is.
We're doing, and then
What?
that shit happened.
What'd you call me?
I lost you for a minute.
Are you talking about cucumbers again?
Ew.
You're funny stuff, I'm telling you.
You ain't right. You ain't right. That's what my dad would say. You ain't right.
Nobody ever accused me of being right. I'm telling you. You know, and it goes for
You
so.
ain't right. That is what he meant.
It goes for so long here that Louis is feeding on rats and animals and all that kind of stuff until the plague. There's an outbreak of the plague, and the Lestat catches Louis feeding on a little girl. right?
Mhm.
And Lestat kind of makes fun of him, does the whole deal.
Yeah, it's up. The dire thing is fine.
Yeah. And then I kind of,
Remember?
well, you're kind of like, that's what you sound like.
I hope not. You can't. Can you hear me?
Now I can. So hurry up and say what you're going to say before you start breaking up again.
No, I just remember him like, making fun of him and like picking up the dead woman and like
Dancing.
start singing in Italian. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I know that
He's like, there's still life in the old lady yet.
yeah, that's that scene was, I got to tell you, I know that I think initially Anne Rice had an issue with Tom Cruise playing Lestat, right?
He did.
But I think that after the movie came out and she actually saw him in the role, I think she actually likened to him playing Lestat. I think he did a spectacular fucking job, in my opinion.
Yeah, he did.
Because in those years and before 1994, I was huge into the books. I read all the books. I read all the vampire books.
Yeah.
Loved them. Those books were panty droppers. They really were.
What?
I mean,
You really were? Really?
Oh yeah. If you had those books, if you were seen reading those books anywhere, oh yeah. Especially if you could talk about them. Oh yeah. But they were good books. I mean, I loved them. I read them all.
I love them still. I wish I still had them.
I know.
I used to have the whole.
I did too. I read the whole thing.
And went up to Men Not the Devil. Did you read that?
Yeah. And that's why, when this came out, I was ecstatic. I was like, oh yeah, this is awesome. And then seeing his portrayal of the vampire Lestat, I think he portrayed him with that, I don't know, the assholeness of him. That's exactly what he was.
Yeah.
He was that he's this old where he just doesn't care anymore. He's just like, I don't care. I'll eat who I want to eat when I want to eat. It doesn't make a difference. And Louis, being the newly turned, still has a lot of those human feelings. And then when he comes up to these current times now, where he brings Claudia. This is the little girl that Louis is feeding on, and who's Kirsten Dunst, and Lestat decides to change her as well. And we later find out
he did that because he was trying to leave him.
Yeah, because
Louis was going to leave him.
Yeah, Louis was going to leave.
Remember?
And Lestat figured, well, look, this will make Louis stay, because now we're a happy family. What a fucking family,
right? Could you imagine?
I don't know, dude. That's some family, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
But and Claudia has her issues as well. I mean, she's a 10-year-old, 12-year-old little girl.
Yeah.
And they go through the years, as vampires. So they're this family of vampires, and they show, through the years, she's, they're bringing her dolls, and they're
teaching her how to play piano.
Yeah, trying to teach her how to be a lady and doing all this stuff. And it's not taking, because she knows that she's a killer. And she knows that these people that are trying to teach her these things are food, right? So she knows that she is it's kind of like a food chain kind of thing, I guess you could say. Where when it comes to the world as a whole, right? She sees them as cattle, as kind of like Lestat does, right?
Yes.
She sees them as cattle, as food, right? And now, but inside the family, she sees it's different. She doesn't see, even though she's a lot like Lestat, she does not see herself as like Lestat within the family. You know, she kind of sees it's different. I mean, because the dynamic between her and Lestat at first, what weren't they close at first? But didn't it come to a point where she started going to sleep with Louis?
Like she was like his pupil. You know, he was teaching her everything. He was teaching her how to play the harpsichord or whatever the hell that's piano or something.
And then eventually, she starts going over and sleeping in Louis' coffin, right? And then her and Louis start becoming closer, right?
Yeah, closer is
and it's she starts becoming because age-wise she's like 40 years old or something like that, but she's trapped in the body of a 10 or 12-year-old. So
I couldn't imagine that.
Mentally, she's seeing women, you know, maturing and all this stuff, and she sees what that women do, you know, as they get older and that kind of stuff, you know, sex and all that yummy stuff with cucumbers. And
shut up with the cucumbers.
You brought it up. I don't know what the heck you keep talking about it.
You're the one who brought it up. No, you brought it up.
You were talking about making a salad. I don't know. But
I was talking about making a salad.
Damn it, I missed you, Christine.
Really? I missed you too.
But she's seeing all this going on around her in the world, right? And she wants that. But she can never have it. Now,
no, because she stays like a 12-year-old girl. She can't change at all. She can't cut her hair; it'll grow back. She can't.
Yeah, she tried that. Yeah, but you know, can we blame it on Lestat? Really? I mean, because if it wasn't for Lestat, she would have been dead a long time ago.
Yeah,
she would have been dead already. You know. Lestat made her what she is now. She's a vampire, yeah, but she has this life now. And if it wasn't for Lestat, you know, I mean, that's it's one of those things. Yeah, it's Lestat's fault for making her a vampire, and we later find out that that's an abomination. That's a big no-no in the vampire hierarchy kind of thing.
One they can't send for herself. She can't go out on her own.
But you know, that's she blames it all on Lestat, and then she starts, you know, manipulating Louis a little bit more, because Louis is already on the doorstep, ready to go. He doesn't want to be with Lestat anymore anyway. And then they have this. One of the things that they taught that Lestat had taught her was that whenever you're feeding, you have to stop before the heart stops, because you drink dead blood and it can take you with it, you know, kind of deal. So they come up with this idea, right?
Right.
And it has to do with what were they? They were twins, right?
Yeah,
Little twins.
twin boys.
And little boys. Drunk on drunk on cherry wine or something like that, right?
Brandy wine.
Brandy wine.
Brandy wine.
Yeah. A thimbleful or something like that, if I remember.
Yeah, exactly.
Thimbleful.
A thimbleful.
And they were still warm. But they were dead, though, right?
Yeah.
They
She
were
gave them laudanum.
laudanum. That's right. Laudanum.
Laudanum.
And Lestat just goes to town, draining them. They were dead.
Yeah. Yeah, they've
so-
been dead for a while.
So he got a whole bunch of dead blood. Messes him up.
Mhm.
And yeah, this is where they do them in. You know, they burn down the mansion. And this isn't this when no, this is when I skipped a whole big part.
Yeah, you did. You
About
skipped the part where she
the-
says your master is the devil.
Yeah,
And,
that's the
because he feeds on the vet.
that
Is
was
it-
that was when they were slave owners in New Orleans and the plantations. Remember the slaves were getting suspicious on what was going on there, and
They were scared
yeah, and
because
they were like
everybody was
they were like
dead.
Haitians or something like that, or yeah, and everybody was coming up dead, and then they busted in, and Louis starts burning the place down, and he's like, "Yes, your masters are the devil." So that was
Yeah.
the one thing, and then this is they're have a much bigger place or something in the city. So the first place was on a plantation out in the country. This one is in the city of New Orleans, and they're Lestat drank a whole shit ton of dead blood. It's kind of messed up.
Yeah.
And then they burn him up. In that.
Oh, she cuts his throat first. Remember?
Oh, that's right. And he's looking
She
kind
cuts
of.
his throat. He's like, Louis, put me in my coffin. She's like, I'll put you in your coffin.
And she's looking like a little evil little. Wow. Yeah, I remember that.
And then there's blood on the ground, and she's like, Louis, pick me up.
Like a little girl. Louis, pick me up, Louis. Yeah. And her and Louis get out. Place burns down. Now, at this point, we presume, right, that Lestat's dead.
Yeah.
That's the presumption. Lestat's dead. Claudia and Louis make the huge leap
Mm-hmm.
to go to Paris, right?
I think, but they were going everywhere. They were going all the way around
That's
the
right.
world because
That's
he
right.
had
They ended up
drawn
in Paris.
pictures.
That's right. They ended
Yeah.
up in Paris because that's right.
Yes.
They were looking for others like them. That's what they were doing, right? They weren't just traveling.
Mhm.
They were looking for other vampires. That's
Yes.
right. See? It's a good thing I got you along, kid. I'd have forgot that one. I got notes over here too, but see, he's after traveling around Europe and the Mediterranean, but finding no other vampires, Louis and Claudia settle in Paris in September of 1870.
Yeah.
And this is when we first see the vampire Armand, who was one of my favorites in the
Yes.
book. I don't remember too much about him in the book, but I remember that from the books he was one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Because he's the one that made wait, he's the one that made oh shit, now I forgot his name.
Marius.
Oh, okay. So hold on. Because there is a whole hierarchy family tree thing going on here. Who I don't remember who was the one that ended up making Lestat.
His name was Magnus in the books.
Okay.
But in the movie, I don't think they mentioned his name.
Yeah, they didn't mention him in the movie, just in the books. But he was old. He was like farting dust old.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there was a whole. I remember there's in the books. There's a whole bunch of lineage that they laid out about.
Yeah.
You know, who sired who and who was the oldest, and I remember because after this interview with a vampire, wasn't the next book called The Vampire Lestat?
Yes.
And then the next one after that was The Queen of the Damned. Right?
Yes.
And then in the movies, they went straight from this one to The Queen of the Damned. They left out the whole Vampire Lestat one. And that's right, because The Queen of the Damned was the king and queen, Akasha and Enkel, right?
Yeah.
See, I remember it a little bit. I'm old, but I remember a little bit. Boy, bringing out, dusting out some stuff there. Jeepers creepers. All right, but back to the movie anyway. The vampire Armand, and this is one of the things that really pissed me off about, amongst a multitude of other things in the TV show, they completely ruined the vampire Armand in that movie, in the TV show.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a multitude of other things that they screwed up as well, but that is one thing that is just, I don't. We could talk about that after we go through this movie here, but on to this one here, because we're actually not. There's not that much more of the movie left. Honestly, we're more than halfway through here of the movie.
Yeah.
You know, because they meet Santiago and Armand. They find out that they have a theater. In this theater,
theater does
the vampires. So they're pretending to be humans that are playing vampires on stage.
Vampires.
So that way they can feed on humans. Yeah. It's just awesome.
During the show.
Actually,
like during the... Yeah, I remember that. That was crazy.
That was just weird. I was like, that was one of the things that Louis says is like, so they're vampires pretending to be humans, pretending to be vampires. And then Claudia says, "Oh, how avant-garde!"
How avant-garde!
I was like, "Wow, this little girl needs to be slapped or something." Use language like that. But then they meet up with the coven. I guess they call them a coven.
Yeah.
Of vampires, and this is where they find out really that that first of all they find out that, well, you killed your maker. That's a big no-no.
Yeah.
And you have a child that was turned into a vampire. That's another big no-no.
No, exactly.
Now, Louis had, right, they had changed another woman to take care of Claudia.
He changed another woman that actually looked like her mother, and she looked like the daughter.
Yeah.
In the little cameo necklaces she had.
And because Claudia was convinced that Louis was going to leave her for Armand, right? So they changes this woman to a vampire, so that way Claudia has her mother, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this coven is like, y'all are kind of fucked. They take Louis,
basically.
Take Louis, they kind of throw him in this hole in the wall, seal it up, and he's basically gonna have to live out his life there for eternity because vampires don't really die. He can't feed, he can't do nothing. He just has to live in there. And then
they put Claudia
and that woman, Whew.
in this, like, I guess it was like a well, maybe with like where the sun could shine in on them and turn them to dust.
Yeah. And that's what happens. As soon as the sun comes up, the sun comes up, and little by little, you see the sunlight creeping in through the, and it hits them, and it's just, you see Claudia screaming, and that lady's holding her. And
yeah, it's a sad.
You're kind of like, damn, that kind of sucks. I mean, Claudia was an asshole. She was an asshole, but she was raised. Yeah. She was raised by Lestat, so I mean, come on.
Yeah.
But you're like, damn, that kind of sucks. But Armand does have a soft spot for Louis. Yanks him out of the crypt, I guess, lack of a better word.
Yeah.
And Louis just goes ape shit, grabs one of these scythe things and just, dude.
Yeah.
Mutilates them all.
Yep. I remember.
And they don't really say too much what happened to Louis and Armand after that, do they? Because they just kind of go.
Yeah, he just leaves Armand.
Oh, he doesn't stay with Armand?
No, he leaves because he said all of his something went to the golden hair, meaning Claudia.
Oh, shiza. Okay. Yeah, I remember that now.
Remember that?
Yeah. And because then he goes back to New Orleans, and it's right.
Yeah.
And because he can, is he being pulled there? Is it like he feels a pull? I can't remember.
No.
I can't remember. This is, and now I'm blanking for this next part, because this next part that I remember is we see Lestat.
Yeah.
Telling his part that he's in this house. It's the modern times, and he's in this old mansion, all decrepit and stuff.
Yeah, and Louis sitting there with him, and he said, "What if I could come back?" Like basically asking him to take him back.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "I must leave now," and he kind of just left him there.
Yeah.
It's kind of messed up thing to do too.
Yeah. Well. That's not, and that's not the end of Lestat, because then we go back to Louis talking to the interviewer, who was just Christian Slater, and the interviewer's kind of like, "Well, am I supposed to believe that blah 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 blah?" And Louis kind of convinces him that, "Hey, motherfucker, I'm a vampire."
Yeah,
kind of scares him a little bit.
Do you like being food for the immortals?
Yeah.
Do you like dying?
Yeah, and. So Christian Slater's like, "Oh shit! Let me grab my tapes and I'm out." He grabs all of his recordings and he's going. He's in a nice car and driving away.
Yeah.
And we see Lestat.
Yeah.
I mean, how does it end? You tell me how it ends.
How it end? He bit the interviewer and said, "I'm gonna give you the choice I never had." And then Sympathy for the Devil from Guns N' Roses
starts playing.
Comes on.
Yeah. And ironically enough, that's exactly what he told Louis. "I'm gonna give you the choice that I never had." So he tells that to Malloy, and that's the interviewer, Malloy. "I'm gonna give you the choice I never had." And now it was daytime though, wasn't it?
No, it was still night.
Was
it was night.
It was daytime.
Yeah.
So I thought this led. Maybe I was wrong. I don't remember. So I think that we could talk about the books a whole nother friggin' hour, because that was a whole nother. I mean, because the Vampire Lestat, the next book that came after this, it led on to a whole war with the vampires. Right, Lestat was out there being a rock star at the beginning of the book because he was a rock star vampire.
Don't get me started on the the Queen of the Damned. That movie pisses me off in so many ways.
But I mean,
They should have done like
they should
at
have.
least the vampire Lestat to like explain.
Yeah, where she came from, because that's when she woke up. That's when her and Ankel woke up, right? Was in the Vampire Lestat. That was the reason, because because the whole vampire nation rose up against Lestat. And Lestat was like, "Hey, fuck y'all! I'm gonna do what I want to do, bitches," kind of deal. And that's why they were like, well, there's gonna be some issues, and that's why they woke up, right? Isn't that right? So yeah, they should have done that, but yeah. Who knows? And I don't even think, did they make and Queen of the Damned, they didn't even make reference to Lestat. I don't remember. I'm gonna have to go back and watch that. Even though Aaliyah,
I don't know, they left out his mother and everything. How he ended up turning her. Her name is Gabriel.
Yeah,
as in the book.
Even though Aaliyah was pretty fucking hot. I'm telling you, that's who played the Queen, right? Aaliyah.
Yeah,
I'm gonna watch that. I might watch that tonight. To tell you the truth. Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Yeah.
She's hot. Even though she's dead, she's still hot.
Yeah.
So I mean, all in all, this is in my opinion, this movie is spectacular.
Yes.
I'm the type of person that I like period pieces. So if I'm watching a movie that takes place in like, the 1500s or 1600s, I like that setting. I like the movie that takes place in certain periods of time. And if you add in a horror movie on top of that, baby, it's friggin' awesome. I love it. And I think that Tom Cruise.
It was awesome.
I think Tom Cruise did a spectacular job portraying the vampire Lestat. I think that Brad Pitt as Louis was good. I think Kirsten Dunst as Claudia, creepy, spooky.
It
scary.
was creepy.
You would fear her if you saw a girl like Claudia. Yeah, I'd be like, damn, I'm out. Kind of deal, It was good. I like this movie. There's no reason to not like it, in my opinion. Right? What do you think?
There's no reason not to like it. Everything in it's awesome.
Yeah. This movie, I mean, I know that with you, I know it holds a special spot too with Kat and everything.
Yeah.
I miss her as well. She was your best friend. Love you, Kat.
Yeah. Miss her so much.
She loved this movie as well. And this movie was, these books, this movie was huge. Hell, this was all kinds of stuff. Now, let's talk real quick about, we're going to give a couple minutes on the TV show. All right. We're not going to die. We're not going to do a whole bunch of time on it because I don't think it deserves that, but we'll go real quick. I watched the first season of the TV show. I didn't watch the second season at all.
Yeah.
Now, one aspect of a lot of vampire mythology and a lot of vampire lore out there, and it's really heavy in Anne Rice's books, is that overt homosexuality, the themes. But it's always hidden, right? It's always like
it's not like out there in your face. It's like kind of just like a.
Well, the way they say it, and I think they explain, even Lestat explains it at a time, that they like to feed on the men because they put up more of a fight and it's more of a game and it's more fulfilling. Where it's not so much of a sexual thing.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Oh, did I lose you again? Shit. She might be blacking out again. She's been drinking too much. This happens a lot in this show, to tell you the truth.
Well, that ending didn't come out too good, so I had to come back in here and re-record an ending for this episode of Guess What? You're Wrong. Now, we were having some technical difficulties there with Christine. We were supposed to discuss the TV show Interview with a Vampire and briefly touch on the Mayfair Witches as is rolling out now with Butts or Nuts in it. You know, nice looking eyes and but we didn't get to touch on that at all. I did have my own opinion on that TV show. I think it sucks. I think it's trash. And I don't know how it's doing in the ratings or not. I don't even care. But there's plenty of reasons I think that it's, in my opinion, it's not very good. It's because it's not sticking to the storyline that was portrayed in the books. I did go back and rewatch Queen of the Damned. And again, I haven't read the books in quite some time. But to me, Queen of the Damned, after this rewatch, it is a loose sequel. So it's not a direct sequel. It's a loose sequel. But it does play as almost the next book in the series, The Vampire Lestat. It does almost play as that book. Again, I haven't read the books in many, many years, so I don't know. I don't remember exactly what's going on here. But the TV show I know is fucking atrocious. It's terrible. I did watch the first season. At first, I had high hopes for it because the cast was a good-looking cast, and I thought that they could do some good stuff with it. But the way that they, in the end, basically all it was is that all vampires are homosexuals, and that's all it is basically what it boiled down to. So it was, it didn't have any of that come and get your grip that the books or the movie Interview with the Vampire had. So I don't like it. I think it's trash. I had no desire to watch season 2. I think it's on season 2 now. And I wanted to see the Mayfair Witches because I like that. I can't remember what the hell's her name. Alexandra Daddario, whatever hell her name is. That's the one I'm talking about. I do like her. She's easy on the eyes. I did want to check that movie out, that show out, but I was very hesitant because of what they did with Interview with a Vampire. And I just read not too long ago that they are actually doing crossovers. So my guess is that they're doing the same thing with that TV show as well. So it is what it is. That's my opinion on the TV show. Unfortunately, we didn't get to get Christine's opinion on that. Maybe if we can get her some better internet next time. I don't know what's going on with her. Maybe we'll get her to give her opinion. But I do plan on having her back because we want to cover Creepshow 1 and 2 finally. We'll see if that ever happens. But that's it. Finally, bringing this episode to a close. The episode was supposed to happen in October. But that's it. Everybody out there, sweet dreams, love, peace, and chicken grease, baby.
Watches the monsters, the ghouls, the dead. His heart beats faster, his mind is fed with blood and gore and screams of fear. A world of darkness he holds so dear.
And that's going to do it for the day. Thanks for hanging out with me and letting me bend your ear for a while. Ain't no time for bad shine. And until next time, don't forget, you're wrong.
Later, Tater.
His laughter echoes a sinister sound as he dances with shadows on haunted ground. Horrorshine, a chilling name, lost in shining sight. Lost in the movies, from dusk till light. Sipping shine is the nectar of life, a twisted soul where horror doesn't end.
This concludes our broadcast day. Good night, and God bless America.